Coming up, CES is the biggest tech pilgrimage of the year, and SciTech Now was there.
So I just spent about 5 minutes inside this TV tunnel right back here. I can't stop smiling.
A salamander with a superhero ability.
The beauty of this animal is that it doesn't matter how many times you cut its leg off, it will regenerate perfectly.
And a groundbreaking woman explains the hidden science behind plumbing.
Funding for this program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Sue and Edgar Wachenheim III, and contributions to this station.
Hi, I'm Mike Zeman. Thanks for watching SciTech Now. Every year, more than 160,000 people head to Las Vegas for CES. Our producer Bill Hallman was lucky enough to be in the crowd to witness some of the biggest tech trends and breakthroughs of the year.
For 50 years, CES has been the place to unveil the latest and greatest in consumer tech. There was the Atari in the 80s, the flip phone in the 90s, and now it's robots, drones, and virtual reality. I have always wanted to go. This year, my bosses said yes.
It's about 4:30 in the morning. I'm heading to the airport, going to CES 2017. I'm tired. I'm pretty excited about this. So thanks, bosses.
After one cancellation, 2 flights, and more than 12 hours of travel, I was in Vegas, and CES was the main event. More than 165,000 people were in town for the show. Like Vegas itself, CES features the strange and the surreal. And I had more than one kid on Christmas moment.
So I just spent about 5 minutes inside this TV tunnel right back here. I can't stop smiling.
I probably saw more than 100 different TVs, 4K, 8K, curved, flat, and all very, very thin. But I wanted more than a showcase of living room upgrades and shiny new smartphones. I wanted to see the technology that could make our lives not just easier, but better. Some of the best examples are happening in the home.
Being able to walk in your home and say, Siri, I'm home, or Alexa, I'm home, and have a number of things happen around your house really enhances the user experience. It's not about the phone in our mind, it's about the voice.
Companies like iDevices specialize in making connections. Imagine a home where your lights, thermostat, music, and movies are controlled with your voice. Or an alarm clock from a company called Holly that syncs your schedule, the weather, and traffic conditions to keep you on time.
It anticipates your needs. If you set an alarm at 7, and if you got a meeting at 8, and Bonjour knows that you will not have enough time to go there, it will suggest to set the alarm at 6:30. So it's something that assists you. It's got your back.
It isn't for everyone. In fact, to some, it may sound like an invasion of privacy. But for those who've seen more and more people retreat into screens of cell phones or tablets, a connected home could help us put down our devices and make a few connections that really matter. A smart home also means more peace of mind, sensors that monitor waste or stay on alert so you don't have to. They can also simplify mealtime and take a few steps out of the laundry routine. Innovators are also bringing more science to young minds. Robots aren't a gimmick anymore. They're tools for helping teach a new generation new skills for a new world.
They can learn the construction, programming, STEM education during the processes when they are playing with our robots here.
Parents, technology isn't leaving you in the dust. Behold, the Willow wearable breast pump. It's cordless, fits under the bra, and it's dishwasher safe. It lets moms multitask, even take a nap while they pump. Out of all the fancy gadgets at CES, this one set the internet on fire. Mommy blogs, tech websites, and my wife called this a game changer. I think it got the response it did because it didn't help you escape reality, it confronts it. At this point, there is no turning back. Technology has been and continues to change the world. It's even creating new ones. The challenge moving forward is using technology to enhance our life, not take our life over. Until next time, Vegas.
By the way, I saw people with bags and bags of free stuff. I must have been at the wrong place, because the only thing I got was this toilet bowl LED light keychain. It's cool and all, but...
The axolotl is a Mexican salamander with an incredible ability. Cut its leg off, and the limb will grow right back. Researchers like Susan Bryant of the University of California, Irvine, are studying these amphibians to understand the underlying mechanisms for their miraculous regenerative powers. Science Friday has the story.
This is an axolotl, a large Mexican salamander. They're amphibious, they're about a foot in length, and while they're virtually extinct in the wild, they are bountiful in science labs, mainly due to their unique ability to regenerate.
The beauty of this animal is that it doesn't matter how many times you cut its leg off, it will regenerate perfectly. If it loses its arm, it will regenerate it and you won't even be able to tell later on. It can also regenerate its tail, legs, and gills. My research has always been on regeneration. I've never wanted to work on anything else. The skin is critical in regeneration of these things. All the information that you need is in the skin. The important layer in both development and regeneration is the fibroblast layer. They are the ones that have the information for how to build the structure.
The process of regeneration is essentially enhanced wound healing. If you amputate a limb from an axolotl, the wound forms a dome of cells from the connective tissue, also known as a blastema. As the cells divide and migrate outward, they reform an identical, fully functioning replacement limb. But Susan Bryant and her team of researchers has taken this concept even further.
Cells will divide to eliminate any discontinuity between themselves and their neighbors. So if you have two cells that aren't normally next to each other, then they will insert what should be in between. The way we think about it is that the cells have positional information. What we've described it as is along this axis, the information, we describe this with alphabet, A through whatever. And around the circumference is 12 through 1. If you put a 12 and a 6 next to each other, what they do is they fill in and it creates another whole limb.
To illustrate this concept, Susan Bryant and her team conduct skin graft experiments.
Where you make a wound here, you have to deviate a nerve to the site and then graft a piece of skin from another part of the circumference with an opposite positional value. If you do this, you've created a big discontinuity right there, and so you will get another hand in there to eliminate it. It's very strange.
These new limbs are fully functioning with bone and muscle tissue. In some cases, axolotls will actually favor the new limb over the older one.
Regeneration is something that all animals make some attempt at, even us. But it must be that in these animals that regenerate, they keep the information that they used to build the structures in the first place, they keep it accessible, whereas we've turned it off. I think what it is these animals, because they regenerate, they maintain a strong grid, what we call the information grid. And the information grid works to fill in gaps, but it doesn't go crazy and make extra stuff. I think the difference is humans had that strong grid as embryos, and then we just maintain the integrity of what was made at that time, but we don't have the ability to recreate later on. We started out with some of the same abilities, but we lose it very fast. What we need to do is we need to know more about what happens in other animals before we go to humans. Other animals that don't normally regenerate, that we can stimulate to regenerate and then see, what happens to them.
An asteroid spaceship may sound like something out of a science fiction novel, but one company is working to make it a reality. Up next, reporter Andrea Vesquez speaks to Chief Technology Officer and co-founder of Made in Space, Jason Dunn, via Google Hangout.
Jason Dunn, thanks so much for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
Great. So you're working on a project to basically turn existing asteroids into kind of low-tech spaceships. But let's back up first and talk about what the issue is that even necessitates that. Why can't we just keep sending stuff up from Earth?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. And that question is really what drove me and my friends to create the company that we started called Made in Space. 6 years ago, we were looking at this problem of how do we really move out beyond Earth? How will people one day settle anywhere in space? And what we realized is that we have been doing space almost exactly the same way for the past 55 years. We've been using the same essential rocket technology to launch everything off of the surface of Earth and send it into space. We're at the bottom of what we call a gravity well. Earth has this well of gravity that we have to escape out of. And it takes a tremendous amount of energy to leave the gravity well and get into space. So the idea of space manufacturing is I can build things in space and not have to bring the raw materials from Earth. Now I've really changed the equation, and I can start to rethink how to do space exploration.
Wow, and you've started to do that, and not you, but other space scientists have started to do that with 3D printing and look into the possibilities of making what you can't pack with you. What kinds of options does that open up?
In 2014, Made in Space put a 3D printer on the space station. So that was our first initiative of bringing space manufacturing to fruition. So astronauts can get tools that they need at a moment's notice. Anybody around the planet can put hardware into space without launching it on a rocket. And that to us is the first stepping stone towards a future where more and more and more is manufactured in space rather than on Earth. So what we're looking at today is both the near term, how do you build things in space that are usable today, but also the long term, when we can have the resources from an asteroid to manufacture with. What will we build? How will we build it? So it's a really exciting company. We get to think about the far off visions of the future and work on some really, really cool technology that is happening today.
And one of those projects for the future is this RAMA project that NASA just has funded you with. Can you explain what that is and how exactly you're going to launch an asteroid?
So NASA has a really interesting program called NIAC. It's the NASA's Innovative Advanced Concepts program. And what they do is they look at studying ideas that really no one has ever thought of and trying to put some science behind it. Is this possible? Is this idea possible? Surely people have thought a lot about how would you move an asteroid from where it currently exists to a more interesting location, let's say a mining outpost. And they've always done it with the conventional technology. Let's bring a rocket engine to the asteroid and drag it with a spacecraft inside of a net or something. So at Made in Space, we were thinking about, well, what are the other options? How else could you move an asteroid from one place to another? This one thing that excites us a lot is the idea of self-replicating machines, because a 3D printer is essentially a self-replicating machine. If it can build another 3D printer and then that printer builds another 3D printer, it goes on forever. And we like this, the nerds in us at the company like the idea of sending 3D printers into space that build more 3D printers.
And when we're talking about these self-replicating machines, there still needs to be a person there involved in starting those processes and putting those things together. Is that right? It's not an automatic process?
What we're designing right now is a spacecraft, what we call a seed craft. It's built here on the ground by humans, launched from Earth to an asteroid. But the seed craft has some very advanced 3D printing techniques on board, and then it itself starts to convert the asteroid into the mechanical spacecraft.
Just on its own accord, once it senses something that is the proper material and size?
Right, so we're taking a simulated lunar dirt called a regolith simulant, and we're taking that and we're putting it through a special 3D printer and actually building functional parts.
And there are some implications for this on Earth, you said as well. What can some of the findings from this research and this R&D help with back here on Earth in our gravity well?
What we're looking at is a fully automated technology that can go anywhere and turn the natural resources into something more usable. So you could imagine robots one day building shelters in the developing world, or maybe for disaster relief. You could have pipelines being fixed automatically. There's all kinds of really interesting things that you could do as soon as you can just send really smart robots out into the field that can turn the environment into something more useful.
And about how far away would we be from some of those sorts of things?
We're looking at a mission that could exist in like the late 2030s. We're really looking out there. But what we're doing with NASA today is we're building a roadmap of technologies. If we're going to get to this mission in 2035, we need to start investing in all of these new technologies so that by the time we can do the mission, we've developed the right technologies.
We're laying the groundwork already. Jason Dunn, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Andrea.
Adrienne Bennett is America's first female African-American master plumber. She was contracted to design the plumbing system in Comerica Park, home of the Detroit Tigers. Up next, Adrienne explains the complexities of her work and shares a preview of her current project.
Plumbing, a lot of people don't realize, is not just unplugging a plugged toilet. It's just not when you turn the faucet on or go into a drinking fountain, you get a chance to sip some water. We actually protect the drinking water. That is the #1 goal for plumbing, the plumbing industry. I love this industry. As difficult as it is, challenging with the weather, and you're eating dirt, you're eating dust, you come out looking like, this dirt ball, but it's the end product. I can stand back, my children can stand back and say, my mom did that. She put the plumbing in that building, and that is the reward of it. Plumbing has such a vast avenue, and I've been blessed with the fact that once I completed a plumbing apprenticeship, I became a plumbing inspector. At that turn, I had to learn and know the code book. You have to understand why the water does what it does, why there's pitch on the pipe, why the atmosphere affects this and affects that. It all plays into science. And you have to understand the theory of it. And that's why it takes you 5 years? No, it takes you 20 plus years. I'm still learning. The younger of the Bennetts wanted to know what it's going to take for us to open up the company. I said, you sure you want to do this? He says, very much so. He came up with Benkari. It's a combination of 2 family names, Bennett and Bakari. We are the only woman-owned plumbing company in the state of Michigan.
Not so much as a master plumber, but as a woman, I think the industry as such has been difficult. It's a male-dominated industry. There's no way about it. So it's been a struggle for her to get involved, to get the notoriety that she deserves. So from that standpoint, I've noticed probably a more ambitious nature than the guys I'm used to working with.
The project that we have today, this is Goodwill Industries. It's going to be a new welcome center. They're in the underground phase. They're putting in the storm, which takes the rainwater from the roof line and conveys it away from the building. The sanitary is what picks up the waste from the toilets, the hand washing sinks, the kitchen sinks, and conveys it away from the building. The underground is required and necessary because without it, the water would just dump on the floor. So this is the part we don't see. This is under the floor. So this is going to be buried in the dirt. They're going to pour a concrete floor over it. So once it's tested and inspected and approved, it will be covered up, never to be seen again, hopefully. And then you will see the stub-ups through the concrete floor. As you elevate in the company, a lot of master plumbers don't do the work anymore. They may be an estimator, or they may just do what I do. They shuffle papers, or they go out and develop the business. A.K. Bennett, he's the project manager. We have Ronald McCullen, he's our senior consulting engineer for the company. We have Alondre Berry, who is our plumbing superintendent / estimator. After 35 years, they come to me for questions. with questions and I answer them the best I can do, they feel I have a lot to offer. Ben Khari is definitely a family, and we care about the success of the company. And all of that is fun with growth. Each new job we get, that's fun. That's entertainment for us. How big of a job we're going to get, what new contract are we getting, what are they working on? When we get the blueprints, look at what's on the blueprints. But all that's fun because we're still learning. The most recent award I received, it came from within my industry. It was from the National Association of Women in Construction, NAWIC, the Detroit branch, which I'm a member of. And it's truly an honor for them to have honored me with the Detroit Crystal Vision Award Woman of the Year. It's awesome.
I think youngsters in general, women and men alike, they see what she has become and the struggles that she's gone through. And I think she lends an enthusiasm. She's a great inspiration for anyone who's interested in improving themselves.
We listen to music all the time, from our work commutes to the gym. Every task or detour in our day can have its own soundtrack. Now, tech startups are putting music back on center stage, giving us access to everything from concerts to surround sound. Here to discuss trends in business and technology in the music industry is Brian Hecht, our resident serial entrepreneur and advisor to many digital teams, including our own. So, it seems that there's been a massive shift in the landscape. There's always a concern from artists. How am I going to get paid by this? Spotify and Google Play, these guys are the ones that, iTunes are the ones that are making all the money. Well, there's still innovation happening in this space.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, everything has been focused on how we get our music. Are we going to stream it from Spotify, buy it from iTunes? And it's kind of a zero-sum game. I mean, there's only so much money that's going to be spent. So for the music economy and the experience to expand, you have to come up with new ways to approach it. And people are turning to how we experience that music, because we have every song ever written at our fingertips. What comes next?
Right, we're talking a couple of different startups. The first one you wanted to talk about is Jukely. What's that?
Yeah, well, the best way to experience live music is to go see live music. And going to a concert is really a big pain. You have to find the tickets, they're expensive, logistics and things like that. So Jukely makes it super simple. For one subscription, you get to see a different concert every night of the week, every night of the year. And it works like an app, almost like a dating app. You swipe through and there are 24 concerts every night in 16 different cities. And there's no search, so you can't go in and look for Rihanna or Beyonce. It's there to expose you to new and emerging bands or acts that you wouldn't otherwise have known about.
These are real-time concerts?
These are real, and they're same day. So if you want to see something tonight, go on the app. It's included in the price, and you just pick what you want.
Wow, so I pay an annual or a monthly fee?
It's a monthly fee, and they will give you a little bit of guidance. They'll give you what genre it is, so they'll give you a hashtag Britpop. So I may scan for those things and then hit the hashtag and see other acts like that.
Okay. Hook Audio?
Yeah, Hook Audio is super interesting. So, stereo sound has been around for decades, and you listen back to a mono recording from the Beatles, you can totally tell the difference.
Yeah.
Hook Audio it looks and feels just like a regular set of wireless headphones, and you can listen to music to it, but what's special is that it captures sound in what they call binaural mode. And it basically gives you a 360 vision or sound of whatever you're recording. So even on your iPhone, if you are recording using these instead of the little microphone, you get to really hear everything that's going on around you. They have a sample on their website of Mardi Gras, and you can stand there and there's a brass band walking down Bourbon Street, and you can hear it as it passes, and you can hear the people shouting and singing and clapping on this side around you. So it's not just left and right, it's really all around you.
So really, it's almost like dual microphones in the earphones.
It's exactly like that, and because of the technology, it can triangulate and give you, really discrete positioning so you hear where the sound is coming from.
Okay, speaking of positioning, the next one is Jaunt. Now, I've seen these on a concert stage, but I didn't know they were in the audio and the music business.
Yeah, it is used for a lot of things, and it is particularly well suited for audio. They are a startup in that they were started in 2013, but they've raised $100 million, including from companies like Disney. And they are the gold standard in what they call cinematic virtual reality. So they have a proprietary combination of hardware, software, algorithms, and it produces an immersive experience that you really have to experience to believe. I tried one of their experiences on their app is Paul McCartney. They do Live and Let Die in concert, which is the Bond theme. It has the sort of slow beginning and then the explosive middle section, and it is breathtaking. You can see the fireworks. Paul McCartney fades in and out at the piano. You turn around and see the audience with their lighters. It's really unlike any other VR experience that you're going to find. And when you watch that, compared to like the little cardboard players you get or Pokemon Go, you look at that and you're like, wow, this is the future potential of virtual reality.
So this is what looks like a flying saucer sitting on a tripod at a concert stage. It's not just recording video, it's also recording full 360 sound.
That's right. It really is like you're there. And it's professional grade, unlike Hook Audio, which is really there for you to use with your iPhone and your little headphones. This is industrial grade virtual reality.
How long until 360 sound becomes what we are familiar with? Right now, as we went from mono to stereo, where's the leap from stereo to 360?
Right. Well, a lot of it is just cultural adoption, right? The thing about Hook Audio, for example, is it's really just a set of headphones that you can wear on your commute, and then you can begin to capture things. So it's not like you have to find a special device. Even Jaunt, you can use it with one of those little cardboard things that you might get in the newspaper to sample a kind of VR reporting of some sort.
Yeah.
So it's really about making the technology and the devices accessible, because they really do require something else. You can't just turn on your shower radio and get a VR experience if you wanted to.
Brian Hecht, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
You can watch full episodes of SciTech Now on demand and on WPSU's YouTube channel. I'm Mike Zeman. Thanks for watching.
Funding for this program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Sue and Edgar Wachenheim III, and contributions to this station.